Okay, we are live, Liv. We are on. So, folks, what's happening? Just had a averted disaster here. I set this up incorrectly. Let me just make sure. I know I got one thing I'm gonna have to do here. Boom, right there. I got. We don't have to get into the details about that. Let's just say that I narrowly averted disaster. I am just gonna close this stuff down so that I don't have internet connection issues. And here we are. Beautiful. That's working. That's working. And we're good to go. Okay, perfect. So Eric Wong here from Precision Movement with my more than half-year-old daughter, Olivia. How you doing, Liv?
Good.
Good? You ready to exercise? Ready to move your body?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we are here with another live workout. It's Friday, end of the week. I don't even know what days typically they are unless I have stuff scheduled. So now I know it's Friday. If you were here on Tuesday, I'm really curious for Tuesday's workout. I'd love to hear your feedback. Share it in the chat, how you felt. So examples, if you had any muscle soreness, if you noticed anything different in your body from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, today, if you noticed anything different, anything feeling better or worse, just let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback because it's really cool when I hear your feedback. And I think we wanted to do a little bit of warm-up exercise before we go. Oh, last thing before we go, we got to go the subscribe thing. Madalena, she's always getting mad at me for not telling people to subscribe. So please subscribe if you haven't. That way you'll get notified about these workouts and you can get email notifications from precisionmovement.coach. Okay, what's up, Mad? Let's do some warm up. Olivia, what's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to do some push-ups for warm up because that's what Olivia wants to do. So just to get the body moving a little bit, let's go. Let's go. How are you going to do? 3, 4, do it. One more. Yeah, bend those elbows. Bend those elbows. Yeah, there you go. There you go. One more. All right. And then you want to do one more thing for warm up? Sit-ups. Okay. We're taking it old school. Sit-ups. Sit-ups. Oh, okay. You're doing that. That looks like a bridge.
This is the real sit-up, Dad.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Cover your ears. Okay. Engage those abdominals.
It's hard.
All right.
I've done it before now.
Okay. Feeling pretty warm. You? Yeah?
I'm burning hot.
Okay. So, especially your legs. Just gonna check this real quick. Chat. Is there any issues with the stream coming through right now? Let me know. All good? Okay, no issues with the stream.
Hey, yeah. Hey, Dad.
Here we go. So what we're doing today. Again, this is all in the description down below, but these are the exercises we're going to go through. And I see a comment in there, am I going to do the same exercises? Why am I doing the same exercises twice? Because it's good for you. If you do an exercise once, you might as well not have done it at all, okay? So repeating the exercises, and because these, especially with exercise like this, these are advanced maps. And I'm going to describe that in a sec, but there's a lot going on underneath the hood, so to speak, that you can't see that will take a lot of practice to get right. So that's why we're doing them twice. And the other reason is because I do these at different times. So 8 o'clock at night Eastern on Tuesdays. And any of my European friends would have difficulty attending that one. And then Friday afternoon here, where people are working in North America, you might not be able to make it. So trying to accommodate people and also give you what's good for you, okay? Even if you just want to do different stuff all the time. So the first technique we're going to do the standing knee flexion to hip extension. We're just going to warm up. I'm just going to do it this time. I'm just going to show you, and then you do it. And just see what happens. Just you do it. Stand up, bring your heel to your butt, try and balance. Go for it.
Yeah. That's easy.
Oh, easy. Okay, other side. We'll do it. And right there, I can feel the DOMS from Tuesday. It's still very slight, but it's there. Okay, other side, we'll warm it up. No instruction. And then you'll see how it differs when we add the maps to it. Other side. Okay, so this is called advanced maps for healthy knees via increased stability. And a map is a movement and or activation pattern. What you just saw there was an example of a movement pattern. I'm flexing the knee and I'm just standing there. That's the movement pattern. Now we're going to get into the AP part, the activation pattern. So the activation pattern is stand in alignment, the ABCs, alignment, breathing, control, stand in alignment without going into any hip flexion, just pure knee flexion. Bring the heel to the butt as far as you can. Once you're at end range, you're going to feel that cramp up or just get tight. You're going to activate the glute and continue to drive that heel into your butt. Hold it and breathe. Keep activating glute for hip extension, trying to extend the hip. Keep activating hamstring to get the heel to the butt.
Ugh.
And relax, slow, under control. And then we'll switch sides.
Yeah.
Heel to butt.
Yeah.
Don't move the knee.
Yeah.
Keep the femur stuck in space and then activate the glute, hip extension. Try to get hip extension. Try to continue to get the heel to the butt. Hold it, activate those muscles and relax. Okay, we're going to go 2 more on each side. Heel to butt. Activate the hamstring. Activate the glute for hip extension. Even though you're not moving, you're actively trying to go deeper into the range. Relax the ankle. Relax the lumbar spine. Keep the abdominals on a little bit. Keep breathing. Stay tall and switch. And 1 more. I'll go the other side so you can see it. Heel to butt. So I'm not doing this. Keeping the thigh straight up and down. Heel to butt. Activate the glutes. Extend the hip. Breathe. Keep the lumbar spine relaxed. And let it go. 1 more on each side. Working, Liv, working. Heel to butt. Activate the glutes, hip extension, knee flexion. Continuing to try to get deeper. Don't go into lumbar extension. Keep activating. And relax. And then 1 more. Heel to butt. Glute activation, hamstring activation, breathing, relaxing the lumbar spine. And down. Okay, cool. So let's see how that feels. Just gonna check through the comments because I want to hear some of that feedback from the other day. Hamstrings felt worked out. Okay. A little bit of feedback, so maybe not too many. We're here on Tuesday, which is cool. So one of the reasons why I came up with these techniques was for my own meniscus injury. Back last August 2019, injured my left medial meniscus, and it was pretty severe because I swelled up quite big and I couldn't really move. I was limping around for a few days, but rehabbed, everything was good. At about the 2 or 3 month mark, that's when I started to think about, okay, how can I add more advanced things to prevent the knee from getting injured again? Because the biggest risk factor for any injury is previous injury, that same injury. Okay, so if you have had an ACL tear, that's the biggest risk factor for a future ACL tear. So I don't want a future meniscus injury. So one of the reasons why I got so interested in the hamstrings is because, yes, they're a knee flexor and hip extender, but they also contribute to tibial rotation. Okay, so external and internal tibial rotation. And when does the meniscus get injured? It's when the knee gets rotated beyond what it's able to control. So if we control it well and we have good strength in the hamstrings, that can help to mitigate that risk of injury. Okay, so that's why I was so interested in getting the hamstrings working in the patterns that you're about to see. So that first technique, the standing knee flexion to hip extension, right there, is great for activation and working in that shortened range of motion where we're often very weak. That's going to increase that ability to flex the knee, which is also good for performance in terms of running, and you got a good knee flexion, you're able to pull through in that running stride really efficiently. Next, we're going to go to a range that's often lost. Knee flexion, passive knee flexion. So this is the dorsal foot metatarsal kneeling with hamstring activation. So now the map, the activation pattern we're going to be using is the hamstring. That I'll show you what we're going to do with that after. So dorsal foot is the top of the foot. You don't need it right now. Going to get your knees close together, hands in front of you like this. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Hands in front of you like this, knees close together. And you're just going to sit back and see what your range is. Now, a lot of people, you might have no problem getting your butt to your heels, and you might be able to just do that. And that's actually from Tuesday's session. That's feeling even better. And then come back out of it. So if you could sit there, cool. But if you can't, this technique's going to help you to get there. And if you can, this technique's going to help increase knee stability. So we've activated the hamstrings. Now you should know what they feel like. If you need to feel them again, flex your knee and push on it. Get these guys fired up. So activate the hamstrings the whole time as you're sitting back on your knee, onto your heels, and try to keep the hamstrings active, and then push yourself out, keeping the hamstrings active. Again, hamstrings active. We're going to hold it this time. So I'm thinking of trying to squish my calves to my hamstrings, the back of my thigh. Trying to flex the knee more. Breathe and push out of it. And again, active hamstring. I'm pulling myself butt to heels, holding there, a breath, and then I'm pushing myself out. So this is what you can't see. Okay, this is the activation pattern. A movement pattern you can see, an activation pattern you can't. So now we're going to go to metatarsals. So the metatarsals are the bones right underneath the toes. We've got 5 of them. So balls of the feet into the ground, same thing. Active hamstring, you might feel glutes co-contract, that's good. Pull yourself down, hold it, and then push yourself out. Okay. Think of activating the hamstrings, pulling yourself down, breathe, and push out. And then one more. Activate the hamstrings, breathe, and then push out. Okay. So this is addressing one of the problems with meniscus injuries is passive knee flexion. You lose that range. And to get there, you don't want to just reef on your quads. Stretching. See, I can get my heel to my butt pretty easily there. You too? Yeah. But then actively, if I let go, we always have less active range than passive range. If we're just stretching all the time, static stretching, we're increasing our passive range, but we're not increasing our active range. And the greater that gap, the greater that difference, the more risk of instability injury. That's a bigger range that you have no control over. So you don't have that active control. So what I like to do and what I promote is promoting decreasing the gap between flexibility, which is passive, and mobility, which is active. Minimize that gap, and that's going to allow you to maintain control of your joints when you're doing your activities, your sports, and to help you to minimize injury risk. Okay. So if you have any questions about this stuff, leave them in the chat and I'll get to them afterwards. Now we're going to go into some movement techniques. One leg butt scoot. It's one of my favorite little techniques. Before we get to that, I brought this out just because if you have limited range of knee flexion, you might need the pillow there for the last technique where you pull yourself down and then you can just rest and continue to maintain that activation. And as you go, you decrease the pillow height. So you could use yoga blocks or something and just decrease that height as you go. That was a question that came up on Tuesday. So one leg butt scoot. Here we go. Olivia used to do this when she was a baby. Butt scooting around a little bit, not too much. She was a super fast crawler, actually. So I scoot, ripping around. Okay, so the one leg butt scoot. Foot down on the ground. And here we want, I got my right foot down, my left hand on the ground, so opposite. And I'm gonna press down through the metatarsals here. Okay, pressing down through the metatarsals. Gonna just bridge up a little bit. Now, keeping that pressure, the metatarsal pressure, I'm gonna pull myself with the hamstrings forward, resisting with my hand a little bit. And then I'm gonna push myself out with the metatarsal pressure. Okay, so that you maintain the whole time. I'm integrating now the whole lower limb. So from the foot to the hip, bridge, metatarsal pressure, pull myself in, keep the hamstrings activated, and push yourself out. Okay, again, I'll bridge up. We'll do 5 of these on each side. Pull myself forward. A lot of people report cramps in the foot here. That happens. And then push myself out. Okay, 2 more. Bridge, metatarsal pressure, pull with the hamstring, flex the knee actively, and then push, activating the quad to get out of it. And then 1 more, pull. Pushing out. Okay, now we're going to switch. Okay, people need to hear. They're focused on their workouts here. Okay. So bridge up, metatarsal pressure, pull myself forward. Okay, and then pushing back. Bridge up, pulling forward, activating the hamstring. You should feel them right here. You should feel them fired up. And then pushing myself away. Okay, I'll just switch over. So you can see this. Metatarsal pressure. Pulling forward. Activating hamstrings. Pushing out. And then let's do 1 more. Pulling forward. Hamstrings are on. Arch muscles are fired. Pushing out. And down. Okay. So that is the one leg butt scoot. So we did 5 reps per. And this is a great technique to integrate. So we got metatarsal pressure, which fires at the foot, intrinsic muscles of the foot, tibialis posterior, that's behind the shin bone there. With the calves firing up a little bit, especially both heads, gastrocs and the soleus. We got the hamstrings fired up there, and we got glutes going a little bit. So this whole posterior chain, right from the bottom of the foot up to the butt, is working. Okay. Always like to establish activation, get range, active range, and then integrate. So integration is all about multiple joints, multiple muscle groups firing at once in patterns that are useful. Okay. This pattern of being able to pull myself forward, super useful for running and sprinting. So if I'm running, instead of just pushing off, I am powerfully pulling myself forward and then pushing off. That's how you maximize efficiency and speed and minimize energy cost. Next up, deep squat. So we'll start normal deep squats. We'll do a few. Okay, I'll wait for you.
I'm done. I exercise the ring over there. I hang upside down. Up, upside down.
Cool. Yeah. All right, we got some gymnastics rings over there. So we're going to squat. Ready? Let's do just normal squats, and then you'll feel this version. We'll squat down, nice and low, then up. Let's do 5 for a warm up. 2, you count. 3. So 5. Okay, now we're going to do the deep squat with hamstring activation. So again, knee stability. When we co-contract, when we have quads and we have hamstrings active, and they're both strong and contracting at the right times and the good patterns, that provides stability to the knee because it's basically buttressing this knee joint from behind and from in front. So this is why I came up with this technique, because the squat pattern is often very quad dominant. Hamstrings don't get fired up too much, and that can result in patellar pain, the patellar tendon or the quadriceps tendon, just achy knees in general. So this will help with that. So now this is where it gets more advanced, and you need that kinesthetic awareness. Okay, so I'm gonna fire up the hamstrings, squat down, and we're gonna hold it at the bottom, keeping the activation. 1 breath. Keep the activation. And then up. Okay. And then back down. All the way, your full range, keeping your feet flat. Keep the activation of the hams. And coming out of it. We'll do a few of these. Getting down. Keeping the activation of the hamstrings, like I'm trying to pull my butt into my calves. And up. And let's do one more. Pulling butt into calves. Breathing. And up. Okay, so that is a way that you can increase your knee stability during the squat pattern. So if you do have any kind of anterior knee pain, patellar pain, this technique might be able to provide some support, because it's going to take some of that load of the knee off of the quadriceps and put it more towards the posterior chain, which are the hamstrings and the glutes. Okay, I'm just going to check this real quick. Comments, that kind of thing. Jill Porter saying, my knees felt really good from the last session. Yes, mine too. I just noticed that yesterday and today. I was out running with kids, biking, and I was feeling great. Diane Shuford, excellent counter to my quad dominance. Yes, exactly. That's what we're going for here. Could you show us that first sheet again later for the standing knee flexion? Thanks, want to take a screenshot. Well, it's down below in terms of the exercise names and the descriptions, but I'll show that in a sec. And Kochi, could you also perform that same activation pattern without hands on the floor? Tracy, i.e. not tabletop position. You totally can. You could pull yourself forward with the butt scoot. If you want, maybe just put your, if you got bad wrists, possibly, you can just kind of pull yourself forward for sure. Just like that, push yourself out, pull yourself forward. That's totally fine as well, okay? All right, well, let's go. Narrow split squat. Here's that, here it is, here it comes. Screenshot time. You want to take a selfie with that too? We got the narrow split squat. So same thing. It's a technique, it's a movement pattern that you might have done, but now we're going to do it in a different way. I'm just going to pull this. I'm anal about these framing and stuff, so I'll get you, bring it a little closer to me. There we go. I know it probably makes 0 difference, but there. Now I'm happy. Okay, narrow split squat. So normal reverse lunge is maybe like that, where you can get basically 90 degrees at the knee, 90 degrees at the ankle. Back leg is, the femur is straight up and down. Narrow split squat is bringing knee pretty much in line with the arch of your foot. That's the width that you want to be at, okay? So we're gonna do, it's basically the same thing that we did for the squat pattern. Just gonna get into this stance. I've got my left leg first here, in front here first. Well, let's do 5 repetitions. So activating the hamstring on this side, on the front leg, pull myself down. I'm gonna hover that knee at the bottom and keep that activation going nice and strong through the hammies. 1 breath at the bottom, and then pressing up without jerking my momentum or losing that activation pattern. Okay, this is strong contraction through the hams and the quads. Down, keeping alignment nice and tall, hovering the knee. Most of the weight is on the front foot here. Let the knee go over the toe, lots of dorsiflexion. Breathe at the bottom, and then come out strong. No momentum, nice and slow out of that bottom if you can. If you can't go all the way to the bottom, don't. That's fine. If you need hand support at the bottom, cool. Get a wall or whatever it is. So I'm trying to pull my calf to my hamstring to my calf. Metatarsal pressure down at the foot. Alignment up top, breathe. Coming out of it. Okay, let's do 1 more. Coming down. And coming out. Good. Okay. Let's switch sides. Narrow split squat. Coming down. Metatarsal pressure. Hamstring activation on the front leg. Pulling down. Breathing at the bottom. And standing up. Okay, again. Feel those hamstrings, poke them, make sure they're awake and active. And coming out slow out of that bottom range. A lot of times people want to jerk, use momentum to get out. We don't, we want to use control, strength through the full range. Metatarsal pressure, hamstring activation, alignment, breathing, and control out of it. Okay, let's do a couple more. Metatarsal pressure, hamstring activation, alignment, breathing, and control. And 1 more. Nice and slow, staying active the whole time through the hammies, mind to muscle connection. Breathe, and come out of it under control. Okay, so you can shake that out a little bit. All right, any questions or comments? Let me know. We'll get to them in a sec. And then we are going to do a little bit of work here. So the first technique we're going to do, this is kind of I like to do little finishers at the end. Tuesday I didn't get to too much, but we're going to do a little bit more. I'm going to keep that technique Tuesday. So right now, grab your water, whatever it is. I'm going to demonstrate real quick the exercises, and then we're going to go through them in circuit fashion. So first up, 1 leg stiff leg deadlift. You're going to go 1 foot, knee is slightly bent, maintain alignment through the leg and through the torso, and tilt over, hinge over and up. Okay, let's work a little bit of balance, a little bit of strength. So 1 leg stiff leg deadlift. We're going to do 5 on each side. Then we're going to the Spider-Man push-up. So Spider-Man, that's right.
Is he really Spider-Man?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you can either do from the hands or from the knees or the feet. It's up to you. Or start at the feet. When you go down, knee comes up. But I want you to look in the opposite direction of the knee that's coming up. So knee's coming up, look in the opposite direction. And you could be doing this with me as well, just as a little demo, just to try it out. From the knees, it's the same thing.
Oh.
Olivia's gonna do some weights. So that's Spider-Man push-up. He's got the 1 leg, stiff legged deadlift, right into Spider-Man push-up. Let's do 3 reps, 4 reps on each side for each of those. And then we're gonna do, integrate what we already learned, because I like it, the 1 leg butt scoot. So just pulling in and then pulling out. pull in and out. So increase the velocity a little bit. When you're first learning it, the slowness helps to develop the activation through the range. Once you have it, you can increase the velocity a bit, as long as we're maintaining that control. So we're gonna do 4 reps per side there. Okay, so if you have crappy balance for the one leg stiff leg, hold on to something. Or you could do the 1.5, just put the toe down. Okay, so let's go. 4 reps on one leg. 1, there you go. 2, you're making me wobbly.
What?
You're making me wobbly. 3, you. 4, switch sides. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Down to Spider-Man push-up. Okay. 1. Looking in the opposite direction, getting low. 3, 4, 7, 8. And then flipping over into the butt scoot. Bringing up or not. Pulling in, pushing out. 1, 2. So still pull with the leg, not pushing with your arm. 3. Metatarsal pressure. 4. Okay, switch sides. 1, pushing out, pulling in with hamstring. 2, pushing with quad. 3, and pulling in with hammy, pushing out with quad, moving from the foot. Okay, so that was the workout. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. We'll take a few if we got here. Uncle Ty says hi. My brother Ty is on here. What's up, man? Okay, what do we have? Greg Schneider, is it okay to use 2 hands on that last exercise? I think you might have been talking about the butt scoot. Yeah, I guess so. I've never tried it. Let me see. Totally fine. Okay, all good. And again, people have wrist issues. Neutral wrist often helps. Okay, fists, old school karate push-ups. DD, any tips for going lower into the squat? Yeah, I mean, there's tons of tips. What we did can help. Mobilizing the hip joint capsule is good. If you search my YouTube channel for squat, you'll find a bunch of stuff there. And I've got a lot of mobility techniques. The principles are increasing active ankle dorsiflexion. So what we were working today, the narrow split squat and the butt scoot will help with that, actually. Making sure you have stability at your knees. All the techniques that you just learned today will help increase hamstring activation, and then hip flexion. So you've got to work active hip flexion. So one technique I like, once you've got your joint capsule mobilized, is just the front support hip flexion. It's just here and then here. The key here is keeping active here, trying to drive the knee up further as you're holding, and then opposite, keeping straight, keeping the glute active so that the hip joint capsule here stays centrated. Okay, so I'll show you this side, not allowing yourself to do this kind of thing and lose your alignment in the spine and through the pelvis. So strong hips, active hip flexion, doing holds of 5 to 10 seconds, multiple sets, 4 to 6 reps. Do that, that'll increase that active hip flexion and help you go down deeper into the squat. So I outlined some of that stuff on the YouTube channel, so you can definitely search and find that there. All right, any other questions? Would love to field them while we're here. think that's it. Oh, Tracy, you got one question here. Dorsal foot kneeling movement, could that be done without hands on the floor? Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that's just more activation required to control your body from falling over. So that's typically how I do it, but it's a technique that is difficult to get that activation in the first place. So I like to add the hands on when I'm teaching it, especially because hopefully that'll get that proper map, the proper activation pattern. Okay. All right. So that's it. Thanks for joining us. If you have any issues with the lower limb, if you've got meniscus problems or anterior knee pain, definitely check out the meniscus program. You can find that at precisionmovement.coach/meniscus. Should be a link down in the description. And if you have other issues, ankles, hips, I've got other courses for that. So you can check my store on the Precision Movement site. Make sure you subscribe and come out next week. We're live on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, Friday again at 1 p.m. We've got Dr. B's show, Ask Dr. B, on Thursday at noon, which was tons of fun. I'll be there with Dr. B, so you can ask us any questions that you like. And that's it. Have a great day, whether it's evening or afternoon. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Not gonna do TV, kid.